If you're like me, you like a little achievement hunting. Sometimes it influences how you play a game, maybe a specific challenge you want to go after. You probably mostly go after achievements in games that you play a lot. If you know anything about Fall Guys, it has one of the hardest achievements of all time. It's called Infallible. It's so simple, yet so very complex. Simply, it's get 5 wins in a row, and if you didn't just hop in on free-to-play, you know that when the game first came out, that was a challenge almost unheard of in gaming. As they've added squads and added different modes, it's become a little easier. It actually wasn't even an achievement that I had really gone after until recently, when I almost did it by accident. It was in one of the special event modes known as Blast Ball Trials, and while I didn't quite get there on that one, it did start my quest for Infallible. So I'm gonna talk about the modes and strategies that did finally get me there, and hopefully might get you there too. Fall Guys is known for bringing certain limited events back into rotation. With any luck, you'll be able to use some of the strategies here to get yourself that Infallible achievement. Starting off, Blast Ball Trials. This is the one I did almost completely by accident. I was just playing, trying to get that sweet cat helmet from Halo, and realized that the 3-round format and my somewhat natural talent and ability, humble by the way, and my natural talent and ability for Blast Ball itself.
Got him! Got the griefer! Out grief the griefer! Get shoved on, nerd!
I was getting
Going back up to 2 in a row again.
wins in a row, which doesn't always happen for me, even with my immense talent at the game. I actually wasn't even recording for any particular reason, but
So you got 3 in a row. Had to start recording on number 4.
I wasn't even playing with anybody I knew. I was playing with random, so that was another dead giveaway that this was maybe a little bit easier than some of the other modes, some of the other rounds. Like I said, it was only 3 rounds. If you had to restart, you didn't necessarily lose a ton of progress, but there is that variance there if you are playing with randoms. And this is one of the biggest things, regardless of how you try to go for Infallible, is playing with people you know can really change the game, especially in the more team-based rounds or games where, you know, communicating with your team is really going to change the entire landscape of the game, really change how you're able to play, and really change how competitive you're able to be. It ends up being a huge advantage. Out of all the options in this video, Blast Ball is the only one I could say that maybe you could tackle with a random. When Blast Ball Trials came to the, what is it called? When Blast Ball Trials were in the Halo event, it was duos. There is an element of, if you can carry and your random isn't that bad, you could potentially go 5-0 with a random. However, like the other 2 options here, it's definitely going to be easier if you have a solid duo partner that you can communicate and work off of and play off of. So for the Blast Ball Trials, it's about getting through a couple of events that you've probably seen a lot, whether it be the race rounds, tiptoe, thin ice. Normal strategies for those are going to remain. Stay at the front of the pack, don't fall off. To me, Blast Ball is like 3D Bomberman, and it's really about keeping your head on a swivel, being aware of where those balls are coming from, where the tiles are dropping out, and the edges of the tiles that you're standing on. The number of players that went to the final did kind of vary, I think from 8 or 9 all the way up to 12, maybe even 14, depending on the rounds that came before. So that's another variation that can add a little bit of extra challenge to going 5-0 in this mode. Like I said, I was playing with randoms and getting win after win. Sadly, I could not get past that 4th win. I maxed out at 4 in a row on Blast Ball Trials.
Suck it, frog!
Could not quite get there, but I was so encouraged. I went back the next day and tried to go for it again.
Back trying to get Infallible. That's it. That's the video.
But then I ended up having connection issues. First, I had 2 teammates disconnect.
Oh, dude, my teammate disconnected again? Okay, Crash, I feel like we haven't done this in a while. Oh, yeah, there you go. There is.
And then I disconnected from the game. And then the trials were over. While I didn't get Infallible while playing Blast Ball Trials, I was, for the very first time in my Fall Guys career, encouraged that it wasn't an impossible task, that it was something I could actually do. And it just so happened that I think the very next week, the next event was Fall Ball Golden Goal. Fall Ball is one of my favorite team games to see pop up. You know, even when you lose, it's just one of the most fun variations on the game. You know, kicking the giant soccer ball around, or I guess more like headbutting it. With as many teammates as you have in the game, it really is kind of a toss-up. But with Golden Goal, I saw multiple people tweeting about how they were getting Infallible. It's a really good way to get Infallible. And even though I had just come off of the Blast Ball trials, I was a little bit skeptical about Fall Ball, but I decided to get a squad together and give it a shot. So one advantage that Golden Goal had over Blast Ball was that it was only 2 rounds. It can go by super quick. And again, like I said, with the 3 rounds of Blast Ball, you know, if you lost Golden Goal, it didn't feel like as much of a setback. And while I said I was playing with randoms during the Blast Ball trial, I had no intention of doing that with Fall Ball. I would go so far to say as that it's not worth trying to get Infallible on Golden Goal if you're playing with randoms. If you're not going in with a full squad, I just think it would be too difficult. Because the way Golden Goal starts, it's teams of 8, so you're automatically teamed with 4 other randoms, even if you have a full squad. And then when you win the first round, you then have to face off against your other 4 teammates if you're in a full squad. With Fall Ball basically being soccer, basically being a team sport, you really need that communication, and especially with the variations they were throwing in the game, whether it be the spinning disc in the middle. You're always starting Fall Ball with 2 balls. Sometimes there's 4 though. You really need that communication that a full squad provides. Because I think with Fall Guys, more than some other multiplayer games, you really don't know what your random teammates are going to be doing, or if they have any clue on what's going on. And with Golden Goal, if you do happen to end up on a good team, that's the team that you're facing in the next round. So if they carried you, you're still in trouble. As far as Fall Ball, Golden Goal strategies go, like I said, squatting up is a must. Communicating with your teammates and splitting up accordingly, however might work for you, was definitely a strategy we went with. Make sure an appropriate number of your squad is running defense, since you never know if your random teammates are going to bother doing that. Understanding and being ready for any variations that might come out. I think there was a time we hit the ball into one of the spinning discs and it basically kicked it straight back into our goal. So understanding how those quote-unquote physics work.
We haven't seen the boxing gloves because I bet those could...
And having a strategy prepared for when maybe 4 balls come out.
Oh god, they got it! They got it!
Oh, they have 3. They have 3 on our side. Oh, that fucking... Nice shot, Ashley. No!
That was mine! Yes!
Let's go!
Made a play.
Good block. Yeah, you blocked that off the goalpost. I'm with Ben. Left. Oh, I lost it.
Again, a lot of that is about communication, and like I said, having a full squad is going to make all the difference. With Golden Goal, just like Blast Ball, we could not quite get past that 4th win. We hit a bit of a wall. It's hard to say what it was. Much like Blast Ball, we had some really solid runs.
Alright,
Oh, I just got pushed.
you guys just not ready for my heat?
Go, Ashley, go. Go, Ashley, go.
Ashley,
Yes!
dunk it!
Saw it within our reach, but didn't quite get there. And then there's Sweet Thieves. Why I mentioned these rounds potentially coming back and, you know, knowing about them being to your advantage in case they do is because of Sweet Thieves. I know it was on Fall Guys before and it came back. I didn't get to play it the first time around, so I didn't even really know how it worked. In Sweet Thieves, you're either the Guardians or the Thieves, and those are teams made up of either 4 or 8 respectively. So again, if you have a full squad and you end up as the Guardians, you're able to communicate amongst your full team to keep those candies from the Thieves. Guard that jail button, whatever you need to do to win. It is completely random whether you do start off as the Guardian or the Thieves. Starting with the Guardian side, full squad, communicate, want to set up your roles. You are always split into groups of 2. So on the one side, you'll see you can move the blocks to create a barrier to make it harder for those thieves to come in. Definitely do that. You can basically make it so there's only 2 entry points that they won't have to be jumping around and easily seen to come over and get the candies. And then if those candies do get moved, moving them back into a central position that you can guard a little easier. As for the other side, there aren't as many blocks to move, and you can't create the choke points you can on the other side. So it's a little more essential to have better communication on that side and a closer eye on what's going on. Like I mentioned, and what we did a few times was also have somebody guarding the jail button.
I'm guarding the button, dude. I have some aggression I'm taking out, so somebody
Okay,
wants
I'm
to
by
get
the
over and
candies.
take my post.
No.
The jail button is in the center of the map, and one of the thieves can go ahead and press it to release all the captured thieves from jail. We ran into one team of Guardians that was guarding the jail button so hard and putting so many of us in jail, we're barely able to get any candies as the thieves. I think that particular strategy is one that can fall apart a little fast. It's worthwhile to have somebody keeping an eye on the button, if not guarding it completely.
Oh, they got it.
I will say though that you don't have to guard the button until maybe about half of the thieves are in jail, because it's not worth wasting one of your guardians on it if they're only going to free 2 people from jail. So once it gets up to maybe 4 out of 8 or more, you want to stop any of the remaining thieves from freeing their teammates. But like all the team games, being the guardians is a lot of just good communication will get you the success there. And unlike Golden Goal, if you're the guardians, it is just your squad, no randoms on your team to deal with.
Let's go, girls.
Unlike if you're the thieves. So if you're the thieves, how do you deal with the stuff that I just described? How do you deal with a group that's guarding the button? So while as the guardian you're not actually able to grab the candy, as the thieves you are. So by default you use the left bumper to walk in Sweet Thieves, which makes you invisible. This is definitely how you want to get into the guardian bases. But once you're in there, if the guardians are doing a really good job of guarding, you might need to take multiple thieves with you to just kind of collapse on them, break up their defenses, get them a little confused, and get some candies out. One strategy we use regularly was to just grab a candy and get it out of the guardian's base, get to the edge, kind of throw it, just get some distance between it and the actual guardians. I've used strategies like this in a lot of the different egg games and other control games on Fall Guys, and it definitely works here as well. If the guardians have blocked off the one side that you can move the blocks on, and there are those 2 choke points, I would actually focus more on going to the right side. And I think a lot of the times when I was a thief, I did more often go to that right side more than the other. And this can really just depend on how they're guarding, where the guardians are at. If you see a weak side, obviously that's the one you're going to go to. There is one spot on that right side that was not level, so you actually have to jump over it, which will give you away for a sec.
Oh shit, did they just see me? No.
Be careful about that. Guardians at the goal, the worst they can really do is tag you. Since they can't grab the candies, it's not a huge concern, and as guardians I wouldn't waste time. You should be really focused on keeping the candies on your side and guarding the spawn point. But as thieves, if they are kind of goal keeping, you just want to be careful that you don't get caught as you're running those candies back. As a thief, how would I deal with the guardians gatekeeping the jail button? I was a little tough, and it depends on how many of your actual squad are free, but as they had almost their whole team on the button at one point, I'd really just focus on the candies. And if you have another teammate free, hopefully they can manage to get on the button if you can break off a couple of the guardians to chase you as you go for the candies. Even if it's slower to get the candies with only a couple of thieves, it's still going to keep the pressure on them and make it so that they have to do something about that or risk actually losing the round. It really only matters if they're guarding the button when you have that many teammates in jail. Or if you notice they are guarding the button heavily, make sure that you are keeping people out of jail. You are playing a little bit more defensively as the thieves, but that strategy is basically useless to them. But otherwise, it's really just about playing it slow and steady, not getting caught, getting those candies in the goal.
There's 2 in the thing. They can't grab them. They're not grabbing them. I got one in. Let's go.
We did it.
We are the sweetest thieves.
Sweet Thieves works so well for our squad that we got 5 in a row by accident.
Get wrecked, nerds. How I'm getting nailed by.
Yeah. Nice.
Hell yeah, dude.
Infallible? What? No way!
What does that mean?
It means
5
we
in a
won
row,
5 in a
boys.
row.
Nice.
Oh my god! Did it without even thinking.
I want compensation, bro.
On cam. Oh.
On my alt account. You could really call us the sweetest thieves because we went and did it again on my other account. And I say sweetest because we didn't stop at 5 in a row, but I've got another video coming out for that one. So there you have it, Infallible made easy. When I first started this journey during Blast Ball, Steam achievements had Infallible at 0.8% of all players that achieved it. Less than 1%. And I don't think I saw an increase after Blast Ball. That wasn't taking the world by storm. But like I said, I saw some tweets about Golden Goal. I think it might have gone up then, but then after Sweet Thieves, it is now up to 1.4% of players, 0.6% increase. So hopefully these tips and strategies help you join the ranks of the Infallible. It's definitely one of my proudest achievements, not only in this game, but in my entire gaming career. If you're like me, this is the last Fall Guys achievement you had on your list, and it feels so good to get it. Let me know how you got Infallible down below. Maybe you did it the old-fashioned way. You're a real gamer. If it was during one of these, let me know what worked for you. And if you get it the next time one of these comes around, let me know down below. If you're still having trouble, come by the Twitch stream. I stream Thursdays and Sundays, and I play Fall Guys a lot these days. If Sweet Thieves is harder next time, I'll know it's because you guys watched this video. Until next time, happy falling.
Qualified. Oh, is it? You count as a winner just for getting to the end?